Hey, this is Andrew Brown, and this fall along, we're going to take a look at Route 53. So I already have some domains registered. I'm pretty sure we registered a domain in probably Cloud Petitioner. I don't know what account it's in, but I do have like one called like the Frankie Alliance and other domains that I've used in the past, but I can't find them. So what I'm going to do is just use one of the existing ones I have, maybe cloudborg.org. I do want to be a little bit sensitive here because sometimes it will show my information, and I do not want to show that to you. Even though it's out of date information, I just want to make sure that everything is not causing me issues. But what I'm going to do here is just click into cloudborg.org, and I'm just going to pause here and just obscure my information. All right, so we have a domain here, and I have my contact information down below. We have DNSSEC keys if we have configured that. You can see when this was registered, when it's expiring, the name servers. When you create a domain, these name servers will get set to whatever they are. So just understand that there will be variation in terms of the name servers that are set. But once you have a domain, what you really want is you want to have a hosted zone. So I'm going to go over here, and by default, it should create a hosted zone for you. And if I go down here, I have cloudborg.org. I actually have two. I don't know why I have two of them. Notice that some are created by AWS. So this was created by AWS. This is the original one. And then I have one in here. So right now, cloudborg.org is not doing anything. So I'm going to click into this one. We'll take a look at what we have here. A bunch of nothing. So what I'm going to do is going to go back. I'll click into the other one here. What's this one? A bunch of nothing. So I'm going to click back. Oh, Cindy was using it for something. Not exactly sure what. Let's just delete that record there. And I'm going to go down below here. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this one out. Okay. And yeah, if we wanted to, we can create our own hosted zone. So if we go here, you have the option for public and private. We are not going to create one because we should just use the one that comes by default. So if you want to follow along, go by domain. And once you have that domain, come back over to here. And once it's confirmed it's created, we'll go ahead and play around with these records. So I'll give you a moment to do that. So go out and do that and then come back here. So now assuming that you have your domain, notice that we have two records here. We have NS for name server and then SOA. I always forget what SOA is. It's a standard one that's always there. SOA record. Let's just go look that up here quickly. Start of authority stores important information about a domain or zone, such as the email address of the administrator. So yeah, those are always pretty standard that you're going to have. But now let's say we wanted to point this to something like a web server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to EC2. And I want to launch up an EC2 instance. So I know in here we have an example code for a EC2 instance. I'm going to launch this in Gitpod. You can launch it in whatever you want, but what I want to do is launch up an EC2 instance, and I want to have an IP address attached to it, and then we'll point to that IP address, okay? So I'll just give this a moment to spin up, and I'm going to find where I might have a file. So I know I'm just ending up with a lot of folders here, but what I'm going to do is make a new folder. Once it's responsive, we'll call it Route53. And I'm going to search for this because I want to find where I already have an EC2 template. So I'm going to go here and say edit, find in files, EC2, maybe instance here. And we'll give it a moment to search everything. It is not working very intelligently. So I'm going to go here and say EC2 instance, CloudFormation. So I'm just looking for that particular name, and now my internet's not working. Okay, well, I'll be back here when my internet's back, so just give me a moment, okay? All right, so it's back. Yeah, so I was just looking for this as a means to search, as it might be a bit faster. Oh, kind of worked. I think it was just my internet was going slow. And so one of these templates will have a very simple EC2 server, so that's what I'm just looking for here. This one looks really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this template here. That was under app config. So I'm going to go into this one, and I'm going to grab our template and our deploy. I'm going to go ahead and copy these. And I'll go down to, let's just say allow. I'm going to go down to Route53 folder. And I'll make a new folder here called Basic, just in case I end up doing something more complex. And I'll paste these files in here. So in my template file, I do not want to actually do app config, so I'm going to take out this app config policy. And I do want an SSM role because it would be nice to be able to log into the app. In here, it's installing a bunch of stuff I don't actually want. What I would like is a simple Apache server. So I will search for that. This will be under the edit, find in files, and maybe under EBS Basic, we might have that. Yeah, here we go. So here is a simple Apache server. I'll go ahead and copy this, and we'll go back, and we'll replace this. It looks pretty good, and this is open up to the internet, so that is great. The only thing this doesn't have is a static IP address, which is totally fine, as I think we don't need one as of yet. But I'm going to just change this so that this says server 1. And I might want to have more than one server here, because when we're doing these routing rules, we're going to probably need more than one. So I think this is fine. Or it would be really nice if I could put the custom name that I want in here for the server. So I'm just trying to think here, how could I do this? I'm going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT, because this is kind of a pain figuring out the CloudFormation for it. So I just say, we'll put this in here and just say, I want to dynamically change the server 1 text with a parameter input for CloudFormation. And let's see if it actually gets it right. It is a little bit tricky, but we'll see if it does it. So that's kind of what I was hoping for. Yeah, I think we can do that. That looks right. And so I'll go back here, and we'll paste that in as such. And hopefully it's not upset. I guess we'll find out. But the idea is that we have this here. And so we'll go up here. We'll say type, string. And then the idea is that I want to supply that. So what I'll do, so I'll go over our deploy script, and then we'll want to have our overrides here. So I'm going to go ahead and just open this tab. And there should be like parameter overrides. Yeah, this one here. So go down to here, and I'll grab this, and I'll put parameter overrides, and we'll look at what syntax it wants. So this should be somewhere here, key value, key 1, so it's something like that. And so we said server name, server 1. I'm not sure if it'll let us do that, but hopefully it will. And so the idea is that this will be for Route53 servers as our example. Okay, so we have server 1. That looks good. And this will be in US East 1. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and say Route53 bin. Nope. Route53 CD Basic ls. Oh, there is no bin. It's just deploy. Okay, so we'll do deploy. And so that is going to go ahead and hopefully deploy that server. So we'll go over to here. I'll open a new tab. And we'll go over to CloudFormation. And we'll give this a refresh. And it's not working, so there's probably a problem. We'll go back here. It said it created it, but this created it in the wrong account, because I have this set up. Let me go check this here. AWS SCS get caller ID, identity. This is in a different AWS account. So I'm using an account that actually has domains here. So what I'm going to do is just set my credentials here. You've seen me do it many times over. If you don't, there's a IAM section for that. But give me a moment. I'm just going to I'm going to make a new user and set AWS credentials here, okay? All right, so I've swapped out my key here. I cleared my history here just so I don't have to worry about anyone seeing it. But what we'll do is go ahead and try to deploy this again. And so we're going to go ahead and deploy over here this server. Here we go. And I'll go over to our change sets here. And we'll go ahead and execute this change set. And so I'll wait for that server to be provisioned, okay? Apparently we have a rollback in progress. I imagine that it probably has to do with our sub there, as I had a feeling there could be something wrong. But you know what I'm thinking about it is that I'm in US East 1, and I'm providing a subnet of VPC that might not exist. So what I'm going to do is go back over here. I'm not even going to read this. I already know that that's the problem. And so I'm going to go over to VPC. I'm going to go ahead and update that stuff. That's something you just have to be aware of when you're switching accounts or regions, that you are deploying somewhere that it can actually deploy. So I'm going to go here and select the default VPC, which is this one here. So I'll go grab this one, and I'll go back over to our template here, and I'll replace out this VPC here as such. I'll have to swap out the subnet as well. So if I go to my resource map, I'll grab that one there. Here, which would be right there. Okay, good. Didn't really do what I want. We'll try that again. Paste. Just have to bring it up on a line there like that. And so now I just need the AMI, as that could be different as well, since I don't know where that last one is coming from. And we will go ahead and launch a new instance. I will grab the AMI ID wherever it is. Here is one. I'll grab that one. And we'll go back over to here. And we will paste it into here. There we go. And we will try this again. And so hopefully this time, where is it? Hello, deploy it. Let's try this again. Maybe the old one wasn't just deleted just yet there. I think it's creating it now. Yep, okay, great. We'll go back over to here, give this a refresh, and we'll go to change sets, and we'll execute the change set, and we'll, hopefully this will create this time, okay? All right, it didn't work. Let's go take a look as to why, as we are having a bit of a hard time getting this to work. VPC does not exist. VPC does not exist. Okay, well, I'm not sure what to tell you because I just grabbed that VPC. So you're full of baloney. But let's go take a look here and look at our values. Sometimes this happens. So we're going to this one, and I grabbed this VPC ID, right? And it doesn't look like it. So I guess it didn't really copy paste. You got to be careful there with the copy paste, I guess. It doesn't always work properly. So we'll delete that again. We'll wait for that to delete. It is possibly deleted now. I'm going to go ahead and trigger this again. We'll go back over to CloudFormation, and we'll go over to our change sets, and we will execute our change set. Here we go. And so I think this time it might create, okay? All right, so that EC2 instance is up, and so the idea is that we want to make sure it's working by first going and taking a look at our instances here in North Virginia. So I should have one here over here. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and grab its IP address. And we'll place it in here, and we'll see if our server resolves. We might have to tell it to not do HTTPS, but the server is there, server 1, so that is good. And so now in cloudborg.org, I want to create a route that is going to, or record that's going to go there. So we can just do it on the www. And in here we have an A record, and the idea is that we want to bring in this IP address, okay? And we'll just place it into here. Okay, like that. And notice it has simple routing on, so this is where we could change our options, and we'll create that record. And so now this record is here, and the idea is that www.cloudborg.org should resolve here. The trick with this stuff is that this stuff doesn't always happen instantly because things have to go out to the internet and propagate. But notice that it worked instantly, so that is really good, as there was probably nothing set on that before. And so now www.cloudborg.org works. The problem is that if we were to restart the server, what would happen to our route, right? Because that route is dynamic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this server, stop this instance, and we're going to wait for it to fully stop, and then we're going to start it up again. And then we'll go take a look and see what happens. All right, so that is now stopped. I'm going to go ahead and start it back up. But you should know that if you stop a server and restart it, it changes the IP address. So what's going to happen here? We refresh this. It is going to hang because it cannot resolve because the IP address has changed. And so if we were to take a look at our new IP addresses, it's 54, 210, whatever. So we'd have to keep going in and swapping that out. And that is not something that you want to do. So what should happen is that we should go ahead and create an elastic IP address for our server, and that will resolve our issue. So what I'm going to do is look up elastic IP CFN. So we can go ahead and grab that example. And I'll go down to our examples down below. And I'll grab this. And we'll go back. And we'll paste this in here. So let's just take a moment here. And then the idea is that we need to reference our instance, my EC2 instance, like this. And so that will give us an elastic IP. So I'm going to go ahead and hit deploy. We'll make our way over to CloudFormation. We'll give this a refresh. And we'll go to change sets because it's not going to know anything. And I just want to see if it would replace the server. No, it's just going to create the elastic IP address. So we'll go ahead and execute that. And we'll wait for that to finish. Okay. All right, so that's updated. So let's go take a look at our EC2 instance here. So if I give it a refresh, and we'll scroll on down here. I got a lot of stop servers here I gotta get rid of. But if we go into here, we're looking for the IP address. This says 50.17.101. So I want to see if that actually is the static IP address that we're using. 50.17.101.87. So it is. So let's go back over to here into our record, and we will use the CLI to update this at some point. But right now, I want to go and edit this record. And I want to see if we can, like obviously we can put the IP address, the static IP address in here, which is great. But let's go take a look and see what we have for these options here. And so you'll notice we have API Gateway, App Runner, App Sync, things like that. So notice that there's nothing here for IP addresses because these are all pointing to DNS records, right? So for this, in this particular case, we can't use our alias yet. We're just going to have to put a static IP address in. So what I'm going to do, instead of updating from here, let's go update it from the CLI, as we should get some practice here using the CLI with this. And so I'm going to go ahead and type in AWS CLI, change record set here. And we'll go over to the docs. I want version 2, not version 1. We'll click over to here. And in here, we should have change resource record set. We'll go down to examples. And so we have kind of an example here. We'll go back over to here. I'll paste this in. We'll just say change record set. All right, and we'll need the hosted zone ID. That'll be the first thing, and then we'll need the change batch file. But I'm not going to make it a JSON file. I'm just going to do it inline here. We're going to use single quotations. I don't think it uses backticks for that. And so we'll go back over to here, and I need the hosted zone details here. So in here, I want the hosted zone ID. So we'll go back over to here. We'll paste this in. And so now the next thing we need is our changes. So we'll go back and grab this link. So if you are trying to follow along, you don't have to look for it. I'll go ahead and paste this link in here. Okay, I'll just call this references. References. And over here, we will grab, sure, we'll just grab this. And I'll go back and I'll paste it in. And we'll just change what we want to change here. So this is optional, so we'll take that out. This is going to be an upsert because we are not deleting or creating. We're just going to replace. And in here, this is going to be the domain name. So this is www.cloudborg.org. For whatever you're doing, you're obviously going to change it to what you need to change it to. This is a CNAME record, I believe. No, it's an A record because of what we're doing. The default here is 300, so we'll leave that alone. And then we have our resource records, and then we'll put our value into here. So what do we want to put in here? This will be our new IP address. Also get rid of this, as that's not supposed to be there. I'll get rid of that. And so we need our new IP address, which is this one here. Let's test it to make sure it works before we do anything else. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter here. And notice that it's resolving, so that is good. And I'm going to go back over to here, and we will change out. Not exactly what we want, but pretty close. We'll change out that value. And so hopefully this will just work. All right, so what I'm going to do, also going to specify the region. So let's just say region, US East 1. I think that anytime you're using Route53, it's going to be US East 1 anyway. So regardless of what you want to change, it's always going to be US East 1, I believe. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. And it doesn't like something. We'll go ahead and see what's wrong. It doesn't say what's wrong here. So I'm going to go ahead and just maybe simplify this because it can be a little bit tricky to figure out what's wrong with it. like if there's something missing or something. So that bracket's there, that bracket's there, that bracket's there. It looks like we have all the brackets. Yeah, this looks fine to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this again. Hit enter. And it's not liking something. So it says invalid, expecting a comma on line 10. So line 10 from where it starts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's a comma missing. I can see it. The problem is it's right here. We're missing that comma. So go ahead and copy this again. And we'll go ahead and enter. And so now it's changing. It says it's pending, but it probably has changed since then. We'll give a refresh here. And we will check. And I must have made a mistake because this looks different. This one has 4 W's. That is not what I wanted. And we'll go back here to this. And we'll take out our extra W. And we'll try this again. We'll hit enter. There we go. And we'll go back to here. We'll refresh. And so now we have our new one. So let's go up to here and see if it resolves now. It should. And there we go. So that is using a simple record. So hopefully that is really clear. The next thing we should try to learn is to use the alias, but I think that for a simple record, we have kind of satisfied this video here. So I'm gonna go over to CloudFormation, tear that down, and I will see you in the next one. Let's go over to CloudFormation here. And yeah, if we tear that down, it should take everything with it that we're concerned about. I don't really care about that route. That route is now a dead route. You can delete it if you want out of there. I suppose we should do that, so I'll go ahead and just do that. All right, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.